My world was quite different than yours. No planes, no cars, no phones, no electrical anything. No recordings of beautiful music. Ah, but we experienced music. Most people sang, many people played musical instruments, and some had caged songbirds. And the music of nature abounded. Goodness, the 18th century was a beautiful time for music. It was my good fortune to be born into the Mozart family in Salzburg, Austria. Mama and Papa had a total of 7 children, but only my baby brother Wolfie and I survived. Sadly, ours was a time of no modern medicine. To grow up in a musical home caused an interesting childhood. One day, Papa taught me a new piece on the clavier, a lesser but similar instrument to your pianos of today. He and I had retired to the room where Mama was. Suddenly, we heard random tones coming from the clavier. Then those tones became organized, and we realized that Wolfie was playing the piece which Papa had just taught me. Goodness! He was only 3 years old. Papa was stammering, "What is he doing? This babe of ours. He is playing music. How?" Throughout history, people have written that my brother was a musical genius. I suppose that is true, yet I always saw him as my baby brother. We were very close, not in age, as there were 4 years between, but we had bonded in love, in affection. I was called a child prodigy, and Papa had wanted to show me off to the country, and he also hoped to make some money from that venture. So when Wolfie became a musician at such an early age, Papa's ambitions grew larger. We, under Papa's management, began our tours of Europe when Wolfie was 6 and I was 10. Composing his own pieces, Wolfie asked Papa to write them down. We also played Wolfie's duets at concerts. People cheered, "Bravo!" We saw all the great cities and some which were not so. Vienna, Paris, London, Prague, and Munich were on our route. We traveled by horse and carriage. One tour lasted for 3 years before we saw our dear Mama again. We toured for many years after, and then Papa made me stay home. For in my time, young ladies did not go around the country giving concerts. It was okay for the child, but not for the lady. Ah, so different in your 21st century. I see young ladies doing many wonderful things. Good for them, I say. Gracious, such a different world. The joy of my days with Mama were when the post came. Wolfie wrote to us often and described his travels. He wrote funny things, too, and would always sign in such a sweet way about kissing Mama's hand for him. It could be 100 times, 1,000 times, and once he wrote, "Kiss Mama's hand 1,000,000,000,000 times for me." Our hearts were joined with his, though he was far away. Throughout his short life of 35 years, he wrote over 600 pieces of beautiful music. So many experts have tried to explain his greatness, to analyze it, to understand it. I say to my 21st century friends, please just listen to his music. You will hear artistry, you will hear beauty, you will hear sorrow, you will hear joy, you will hear lively explorations, you will hear the Creator. Wolfgang is acclaimed as being one of the big 3 composers of all time. He shared that distinction with J.S. Bach and Ludwig van Beethoven. How that can be, I cannot say. What I do say is that we were children together, playing games and laughing. All around us the music streamed. Does it still?